Today, we're going to take a look at how to create a global tags database. You could also call this something like master tags database. And a global tags database is exactly what it sounds like. It's a place to gather a collection of tags to help you organize the pages in your workspace. So instead of using something like a select or a multi-select property in a database, you could use an external database to organize the pages of multiple databases. You can follow along via a template down in the description below called Follow Along, and we can create this global tags database together. So let's just get right into it. Now, inside of this callout at the top of the page, we have a list of different databases that we're going to connect to one new global tags database. To create that new global tags database, I'm going to go to the body of the page down here and select the / key on my keyboard to bring up the block menu. Then I'm going to search for database, or I can search for a specific kind of database like a gallery. Select that option, and then I'm going to select New Database. Name this new gallery database Global Tags, and then open this up as a full page and give it an icon. I like giving icons to new databases, especially if I'm going to be using the relation property a lot. It helps me search for the database a little bit easier. I'm going to give it an icon star and maybe a blue star. Let's go back to the parent page here and scroll down to our new database. Next, I'm going to go to the database menu and configure the layout of the database via the layout button. We have a few different options. Number one, we can show database title or hide it. I'm going to hide it. Card preview, I'm going to change from page content to none. The card size is going to go from medium to small. Okay, so let's go back and delete pages 2 and 3 and enter into page 1. Let's see what Notion gives us for a default page in a gallery database. Just open that up as a full page, delete some of this content inside. I'm going to first delete this created property they give us by clicking on it and going to delete property. And I'm going to remove the top level discussions or the comment section at the top. To do this, I'm going to the page menu, the top right hand corner, customize page, and top level page discussions is going to go from expanded to off. The tags property, which is a multi-select property, is a drop-down menu property where we can add different options to a drop-down menu like area and month. And I'm just pressing enter to create, rating, glossary, and place. So for each option, you'll see that they're a different color. I can change the color by going to this ellipses button over here and selecting a new color. You'll also notice that we have every option inside of this cell. I want to change the property type by clicking tags and edit property from a multi-select property to a select property. This will give us the option to only select one item in the option list at a time. I also want to rename tags to type, press enter, and then I'm going to change the name of page 1 to work. Add an icon like maybe a briefcase. Now the parent page for work is global tags, which is the database we created. And then the parent page for global tags is the original global tags page. The view that work page is in is called gallery view. I can select it and go to edit view and rename this to areas so we only see area pages here. And then change the icon to maybe a grid. What I want to do next is go to filter and type and state that type is only area. This will ensure as we create new pages in this database view that they will automatically go into the area type. So let's call this one personal and add an icon, maybe a user icon. Now what I want to do is create a new database view for every option in that drop-down list we created. To quickly do that, I'm going to select Areas and Duplicate. Rename this duplicated view to Months. Maybe change that icon to a calendar. And change the filter from type is area to type is month. Do that again a few more times. Duplicate months to ratings and filter from month to rating. Again, duplicate ratings to glossary. The glossary section is going to be where all of the terms and topics, especially for notes, are going to go. And let's make this a light bulb. This is good for knowledge management. Change the filter from rating to glossary. And then one more time for places. So this will act like an atlas. And change that icon maybe to a globe. Filter from glossary to place. Okay, so we've created our global tags database, where it's not only just a database where we're collecting every tag, but we're also creating subsections for tags and compartmentalizing them into areas, months, ratings, glossary, and places. Inside of the areas database view, I'm going to create two new pages. One for side hustle. Give it an icon. And lastly, one for school. First database to go into is Notebook. We're going to connect this to the global tags database. First, we have a last reviewed date property that gives you the last reviewed date of each note. Some materials, which is a files and media property to add new documents to each note, and a created time timestamp. Let's look at this area drop-down menu, which is a select property like we created before. I'm going to convert this area from type select, scroll down to type relation. Relations connect one database to another. What Notion does is prompt you to select what database you want to connect to. We're going to connect to global tags, and we're going to keep the name of this property to area. Show on global tags. This is creating a backlink, and let's name this backlink notes. Down here in the diagram below, from the notebook database, there is a relation called area that connects to global tags. Coming back, there is a new relation created in global tags called notes, coming back to the notebook. Let's add that relation. Now what I can do is click through this cell for the first note under area and select what area it is in. Maybe this one can be work, this one can be school, and this one down here can be side hustle. Now let's go back to global tags and scroll down to our inline database and go to work. Now the work area has a new relation coming back called notes and is collecting all of the notes associated with work. Let's do the same thing with tasks. In tasks, we have a status property between not started, in progress, done, and archived for each task. Here are our tasks, a due date, and there's a relation property over here. And what this does, if I go back to the original page, is connect to another database called projects. We're going to create a second relation in tasks that converts this area drop-down menu again to a relation to global tags. Again, we can select the name area and change the type here, or go to edit property. Let's go to edit property and change the type in this configuration window to relation. And again, we can select global tags and create a backlink called tasks and add relation. And again, inside of each cell, we can label each area. Side hustle, personal, and maybe the two tasks down here are work What I can do is select work for the first one, click away, and you'll see this little circle in the lower right-hand corner. I can actually click that and drag down to duplicate. Okay, so going back to our inline again, we should have one more backlink called tasks. And we'll do this one more time with a database called contacts. This is a pretty simple contact list where each card or each person in the database has an area they're associated with. So what we can do, we do not have to configure properties only inside of table views. If you go into any page, you can do the same thing. So in area, I'm just going to go to edit property, change type again to relation, and global tags. Give this a backlink as well called contacts and add that relation. If I want to bulk add to a property, I would go to the parent page contacts, back to the database, and locate a table like contact links. Maybe drag this down. I'm just going to do random areas. Now we have all of our areas connected to the databases above. If I go into work, we now have 3 different backlink relations that will grow over time. So let's open this up as a full page. And firstly, I want to create a template that shows all of this metadata and all of these relations in the body of the page instead of at the top here. First, what I want to do is hide all of these relations. So I'm going to select contacts and hide property, always hide. And I'm going to do the same with notes and tasks. What I can do is create a template right from the body of any page via this button, or if I go back to the original page and the inline database, I can go to this button next to new and add a new template here. What I'm going to do is add a new template for every database view. Let's call this first template new area. And for every new area, of course, the type will be area. In the body of the page, I want to see all of those relations accumulate. To do that, I'm going to create linked data. So / linked view of database. So we're not creating a new database necessarily. We're going to go ahead and select existing sources. Select that. Instead of selecting new database, I'm going to select an existing one, first being tasks. I can also copy an existing database view from that original database. I'm going to select active tasks and rename this just to tasks and press enter. So let's change the layout to this tasks view to list. We can also hide this database title and go to properties to configure what properties I want to see in this list view. Let's show the due date and the status. Okay, now that we have that, I can add a filter. Status is not archived, and I'm going to add another filter where the relation area that we created contains the name of this template, new area. And all of your pages should disappear. What we're going to do is add another database view for the notes connected to this area by selecting this plus button and selecting another data source, notebook. And I'm going to select that gallery view and rename it to notes. Go to layout, and again, I'm going to hide that database title. I could also change what these cards look like, maybe go from medium to small. Go back, go to the filter here, and I can also configure the filter where area contains new area. And do this one more time for contacts. Select the existing source contacts. All contacts, I want to have that grid view. Rename this to contacts, and in layout, hide the database title again. And in filter, make sure area contains new area. I could also add an icon, but I'm going to keep that blank. Press this back button. When complete, I'm just going to click away, click on work. Inside of the body of the page, it will now give us the option to select the new area template. And now we have all of the tasks associated with work, notes, and contacts. What I want to do for every page inside of the areas database view is automatically have that template be applied to the body of the page. To do that, I'm going to go next to the new button to my templates, which will accumulate here. Go to this ellipses, edit this template, and set as default. Use new area as default template when creating new pages for all views or only on areas view. We're going to select areas. And now default should be next to the template. If I go and create a new area, it should automatically apply that template. I'm going to create 2 tags here in months, one for January 2023 and another for February 2023. I could give these icons as well. Maybe a heart icon. And for January, a snowflake. Okay, so some databases that I want to connect to months is first projects. And let's create a new relation property by selecting any one of these pages. I have a status property, dates, this is the work time for the project, a completion rollup, and people. This is actually from a template from Notion's template gallery that I just tweaked a bit. So I'm going to press that show properties and add a new property within this page here and select relation. Connect to global tags again. And this new relation is going to be called month. Related to global tags, and the backlink will be projects. You'll see it in this diagram below. Projects to global tags, but now we have a new relation inside of projects called month, and inside of global tags a backlink called projects. Add relation. Great. Maybe drag this up here. And now I can select January for this project. That's just the month that it's due. For this one, January as well. And lastly, we have one that's due in February. Exit out of that. Let's go back to global tags. And I do want to connect one more database to months, which is the blog calendar. We are going to, again, just open up any page here. I'm going to create a new property via add a new property. Again, scroll down to relation, select global tags, and rename this to month again. Create a backlink, and we can rename this backlink to blog posts or online posts. Add relation and start filling this out. This one's for January, February, and you can shift through new pages inside of your database via these 2 buttons up at the top of any page. And there are shortcuts for this as well. January. So let's say that this publish date is not January, but rather March 23rd. I can go to month, and I don't have the tag March 2023, but I can create it here. And it will give me the option to create a new tag in global tags. Select that. And I can even select it again to go to the page, maybe change the type to month, and give this its own icon. And then I can also go back to my post via that backlink. Now let's go back to the original page and that inline view, and you can see March 2023 has populated. Okay, so let's go into January and open this up as a page and kind of do the same thing that we did with the areas. We're going to create a months template. First in online posts, backlink, Select, hide, always hide, and again, do the same thing with projects. And what I can do is add a new template via the body of the page here. And open this up as a page as well. Call this new month. Type month. And in the body of the page, I do want to create a linked database again, /linked data. And first, I'm going to find projects, or let's do blog calendar for the first view. And select one of our existing views. I could select active and just rename this to blog. Change that layout maybe to a list and hide that database title. Go back to properties and see what properties you want to see. Type of content, also publish date and status. And we want to go to filter again and make sure we're adding a filter where month relation this time contains the name of the template, new month. And all of those entries should disappear. Click filter again. And let's add one more database view for the projects. I'm going to select that active view with the pipeline board view and rename this to projects for this month. Keep the layout as is, but I may actually go to layout and change the card size from large to medium. And I could also go to properties and maybe also view the dates. Great. Now let's go to filter. Month contains new month. And everything looks great. If you're someone that likes to track habits, I've created a different way to track habits for each month where you can actually change the habits as months go by, a little bit easier than the traditional habit tracking in Notion. So let's just quickly back out of this and we'll come back to it. And inside of the step-by-step guide, in part 3 months, I do have a block here that says duplicate page below to add to the new month template. So I'm going to go to the block menu next to this page and duplicate. And then I'm going to highlight it so that it is all blue and just copy. Go back to that template, new month, edit, open as a full page, and right below this linked database, I'll just press enter one time and paste. Select dismiss, and then I'm going to go to the block menu here and turn into inline. And here we have a collection of cards from the 1st to the 31st with some example habits. So if I click through one of these cards, I could also just change the name of some of these habits for each month. And I also have a progress bar here. As you click through each, this progress bar will go up. If you decide to add a new checkbox here for more habits, let's add a new property checkbox. I can rename this to maybe writing 2 articles per day. I would go into my progress bar formula by clicking the cell here and changing this number where you see 4 to 5 and add a plus after the to number function for meditate. And you can highlight this actually, paste it over and change the name meditate to 2 articles. Done. And now if I select all 5, it will go up to 100%. Let's click away. Now inside of each card, I can also select my habits for each day. If I also want to see that new habit I created, I'm going to go to the database menu, properties, and make sure I see that. Next, the name of this new database, monthly habits for ... I'm going to delete up to 4 and just put in the name of the month. But I'm going to keep this in ellipses for the template. There's also a section for a table to see all of your habits in a table view. Let's just delete 2 articles for now and keep that template how I had it before with 4. just for this example. Great. So this is still inside of that template page. Go to the original global tags parent page. Scroll down to our inline page. Go to January and new month. Now we see all of the blog posts for January, all of the projects for January, and the monthly habits for, I can just change this ... to January. We can go ahead and configure this database just for this month. And then as we go into February, click new month and do that again. Just change the ellipses to February and change your habits for the month. Let's go on to the next section called ratings. For ratings, I do have some star ratings to put inside of this section. I'm going to copy some of the stars up here to my clipboard, come back down to ratings, just add a new page. For 1 star, maybe give this an icon, search for more, and just do that up to 5 stars. The first database we're going to collect is media list. This is just a list of media from books to articles to film and TV. And this is also from Notion's default template list. Let's go to this first page here. Open this up as a page. We have a type option menu, completed date, author, link, and status. We also have a score drop-down menu with different ratings. I'm going to go to score, edit property, and change type to relation. Connect to global tags again, and show backlink for media list. Just add that relation. Now if I go back to my media list and go to my finished list of all my finished media, I can go through each one and give it a score. Maybe this is 4 stars. The next is 3. And lastly, maybe we can do one for 2 stars. The next, let's create a relation for the blog calendar, where inside of published, I also have star ratings in a property called feedback. You can just again change this to type relation to global tags, and the backlink can be published posts. Give this some feedback ratings as well. And now when we go back to these rating stars, I can see all of the relations accumulated in each star rating. So you'll notice that when I went to search for these pages, I just pasted in a star. That can get rather annoying. So what you can also do is in front of each star rating, put the number. 1, 2, 4, and 5. So when you go and search for each one of these pages, you can just type in the number. All right, so let's go back to the original inline database and select 3 stars. Open this up as a page. And again, we're going to hide these relations by clicking on them, and hide property, always hide. And we're going to create a new template called new rating and open this up as a page. Type, of course, is going to be rating. And let's give this an icon because every ratings page has one icon for more, the more icon. And then in the body of the page, in the block menu, again, we're going to look for linked database and select first the media list and all media gallery. Rename this to media. And in layout, I'm going to hide that database title and just keep it as is. I can go to filter next and just make sure the score contains new rating. In my next database view, I'm going to connect to blog calendar, and I'm actually going to select published because only my published blog posts are getting feedback ratings. I can also just keep the name published, and in layout, change the card size from maybe medium to small. Go back. I can also hide the property for feedback and just see that published date property and make sure that filter here. Add a filter where the feedback contains new rating. All of it should disappear. Also, I forgot to hide the database title, but I can also just go to this ellipses next to the title and hide it from here. Great, now let's go back and go to the original page. And for each page, we can add that new rating. And like we did with new area, I can go to the template list here and change to set as default for only the ratings view. I don't believe I did that for months, so I'll go back to months and do the same thing. New month template will be set as the default only for months view. And let's move on to the glossary section. So this is going to be a little bit different from the past templates. We're going to use a method of inline linking instead of using the relation property here. I'm going to first create a template for glossary items. So inside of our template section here, I'm going to add a new template called new glossary item or new glossary term. And I'm going to quickly just give this an icon of a tag. And I'm going to make it light gray. There is a reason why I'm making this specifically light gray and not black. A bold icon is going to make the inline link text hard to read. Make type glossary. And in the body of the page, let's just open this up as a full page. I'm going to use an AI block. Now, I don't know how many people have access to the AI feature with Notion. I'll leave a link down below to sign up if it still exists. I think a lot more people have it now. But if you do have it, you can go ahead inside of the body of the page, first of all, create a callout. This callout will be used to summarize this glossary item. Change the icon of this callout maybe to an info icon. And inside of this callout, I just pressed enter and return. I'm going to go into the block menu again and look for summary. There is a summary AI block now that generates a summary for the current page. So it takes the title of the page and summarizes it for you. I'm going to select that, and that's going to be my template. Let's go back to the original page. We can see that template here, and I'm going to go ahead and press edit this template, set as default, only on glossary view. So what type of database would this be useful for? Like I said, knowledge management. So inside of Notebook, let's go to one of these pages, maybe 90s UK literature. And we have some text in the body of the page. So from the fall of the Berlin Wall to the turn of the millennium, what we can do is first take Berlin Wall and make it into a glossary item. Delete this and let's just pretend we're typing. As I'm typing on my keyboard, I'm going to select the @ symbol and type Berlin Wall. And from this menu that appears, I'm going to go all the way down to New Berlin Wall page in. And go ahead and select New Glossary Item. But if it doesn't show up here, I'm going to search for my template called New Glossary Term. And below New Glossary Term, it should tell you where it's coming from. So my database is inside of Global Tags page in the global tags database. So that's exactly what I want to select, that template. And now you'll see that Berlin Wall still appears as a word, but also a link. If I select that, I have now created a new page inside of my tags database called Berlin Wall Glossary, and now I can generate a summary. You'll also notice that a backlink has appeared inside the body of the page. I can select it and go back to 90s UK literature in my notes. If I want to see this a little bit differently, I can go to my page menu, go to customize page again, and backlinks show in popover or expanded. I'm going to select expanded so I can see all of my notes accumulate at the top of the page as backlinks. So let's just go back to that page and it'll take us to the block that that tag is in. So again, I can create another tag, maybe for 1990s. So at 1990s, new page in, I do have in suggested new glossary terms, so I'm just going to select that. And again, we have a new page for 1990s, and I can generate a summary and go back to that note. So let's go back to the original page. And now that inline database and database view for glossary should populate 1990s and Berlin Wall. Now let's move on to the last section of our tags database, places. So this will act a little bit like an atlas. The databases I want to connect to this are first travel planner. Here we have some activities to do while traveling, a done checkbox when the event is done, a date to do it, the exact location, and notes. This is also from Notion's default template menu. I'm going to add a new property. Now inside of table view, an easy way to do that is via this plus button here. Scroll down to a relation again. We're going to connect to global tags, and I am going to rename this property to city. Create a backlink for maybe travel planner. We'll just keep that default name there and add a relation. Now that we've connected that new property, I'm just going to drag this over before location. And inside of each cell, because I currently do not have any items inside of that places database view, I'm just going to add a new one here for maybe San Francisco, California, USA. Press enter. And I can adjust the width of this cell as well. The next one is New York City. So like we did before with months, I'm creating new pages remotely into my global tags database. And like I also mentioned before, I can drag this cell down to duplicate. Okay, the next database I want to connect to places is contacts. So in addition to collecting all of my travel dates, I may want to see what contacts I have in those cities. Let's go to all contacts and click through a page. So I do have a drop-down menu for location. I am going to click location, edit property, and convert this existing property from select to relation. Look for that global tags again. Keep the name location, but we're going to create a backlink inside of global tags. You'll notice that it's giving us the name contacts1. That's because we've already created a relation inside of this database to global tags. It's totally fine to create more than one, but I'm going to rename this people in city and add that relation. Now coming back, I can go to that contacts database page, go to by location. Here I have grouped all of the cards by location. And I'm going to go down here to group and search for New York to show in this view. And what I can do inside of the grouping no location is just drag and drop. And just keep doing that. Now what I can do with this grouping feature, if you're not familiar with Notion, let me just go to the database menu really quickly. So in this database view, I've selected group and I grouped by that location. So that's how I'm able to get these toggles by location. I can also, inside of grouping, click that location, which is now a link to the global tags database. So New York City, I can change that type to place. And same for San Francisco. So when I go back to the original page and scroll down to my inline database, I can see both New York City and San Francisco in my places section. Let's go ahead and make a template. So again, going to that template menu and going to add new template. Let's name this new place and open this up as its own page, full page. Add an icon here. So for every new place, I want it to have a map pin icon. Type, of course, is place. I'm going to hide these relations. People and city can always hide. Same goes for travel planner. Always hide. Now in the body of the page, I'm going to go / link database again. Linked view of database. And first I want to select travel planner. So what I'm going to do here is archive all of the events I did in each place in my places database view. So it acts almost like a travel journal. Because I want it to act like a travel journal, I'm going to select an existing view called done. So these are all of the finished events. So let's name this what I did. And in properties, I can see the date, maybe a done checkbox at the end, and the location. Now this view, this done view inside of my original database, is using that grouping feature again. And it is grouped by date and date by month. Let's go to filter and make sure we add a filter here where the city contains new place, which is the name of our template. The next database view is going to connect to contacts. And I can even choose my by area view, which groups all of my contacts by their area. Name this contacts. And group, you'll see, is grouped by that area property. I'm going to go ahead and hide empty groups and exit out. Let's hide that database title as well. And you'll see that these toggles have appeared for each area. I can add a filter one more time where location contains the name of this template, new place. All of those entries should disappear. And what I'm going to do in addition to this linked database is at the top of the page, I'm going to use another AI block / callout to make a callout. And I'm going to change that icon to maybe an info icon. And in bold, have summary be the title of the callout, pressing enter and return. Now inside of this callout, I'm going to go back to the block menu with / and look for another AI block called content block. And inside of this block, I can give a specific prompt. In this case, I want to summarize the place in page title, then describe the average weather there. What I could also do is if I want to see contacts in front of what I did, I can just click and drag that over. Let's press that back button and go back to the original inline database. Select the first city, New York City, select new place, and it should give us all of our contacts in New York City and also what we did in New York City. And I can go ahead and generate this content block. It is giving us the summary of New York City and also the average weather there. And let's do the same thing for San Francisco. Great. Lastly, let's go to the template menu and make sure that new place template is set as default only on places view. And now we are done with this tutorial. So let's just go right into the outro. I hope you guys found this useful and you came out of it at least with a little bit of inspiration to take into your own workspace. Like I said, there is a template down in the description below, one that is finished and one that is for a follow along. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys the rest of the week on Twitter and next time with a new video. I'll see you then.